The car that stood the test of time, the one that literally invented the name hot hatch, not to mention your day probably owned one. You guessed it, today we're talking about the Golf Mk1. You see, back in 1978, the first Golf Mk1s hit South African tarmac. It came with 3 trim levels, the L, the LS, and the GLS. The L being the baby brother entry-level 2-door with a 1.1 liter engine, making a whopping 37 kilowatts, aka 50 horsepower. I'm pretty sure modern day Hot Wheel cars make more power than that, but it did improve with the GLS being the top tier 4-door version with a 1.5 liter engine, making a respectable 52 kilowatts or 70 horsepower. These were good enough for what they needed to be. And quite honestly, VW didn't have to make any more. However, this was the 70s and 80s and VW wasn't done right there. In late 1978, we got introduced to a couple of ultra-economical diesel options, foreshadowing the TDI. And then in 1978, we got introduced to the GTS. This thing was set apart styling wise. I mean, it had matte black bumpers, a spoiler, and the iconic 4 headlamp design. It was powered by a 1.6 liter engine making 63 kilowatts or 85 horsepower, and the car just weighed over 800 kilograms. The suspension was adjusted to take corners just as fast as sports cars at the time. And then in 1982, we got the car that took on sports cars triple its price and beat them on the track. The one that started the iconic name that we all know and love today, the Golf Mk1 GTI. This was the beginning of the true hot hatch. It came with a 1.6 liter fuel injected engine making a blistering 82 kilowatts or 109 horsepower in 1982. I mean, that was the time when bicycles were considered fast. And the crazy part is the GTI was developed in secret. It wasn't a corporate scheme to make billions. It was actually just a couple of passion-driven mechanics working on a sports golf project after hours. The reason for this was VW's management didn't think a fast hot hatch would sell, but man were they wrong. You see, the company had their fingers and toes crossed that they would sell just 5,000 GTIs globally to cover development costs. But the GTI was an instant success, blowing up and selling a mind-blowing 461,690 units worldwide. Oh, and it was also almost called the TS. But in September of 1983, the main plant producing the Golf Mk1, the Wolfsburg factory in Germany, closed its curtains on the Mk1 for good, to make room for the more expensive Mark II Jumbo. This was the ending of the love letter for car enthusiasts known as the Golf Mk1. However, just like the Joe, that dude from Stranger Things that sang the song Beginning of the End, VW South Africa said to VW Germany, "Get lost, we aren't done yet." And that was the beginning of the Citi Golf. In 1984, the rebranded and slightly modified Citi Golfs launched in South Africa, and it was an instant hit. It was so good that we got special editions of the Citi Golf like the Sport, the legendary CTI, as well as the Shuttle. And then it became so popular that we got special versions of the special version, and then special versions of the special versions of the special versions. Needless to say, VW South Africa absolutely milked the architecture of the Golf Mk1 for a while. I'm talking 31 years, a while, of uninterrupted development. And they came up with a bunch of different engines, everything from a 1.3 carb to a 1.4 injection to a 1.6 MPS and a 1.8 K Jetronic. The list literally just goes on and on and on. So let me know down below what's your favorite Mk1 Golf, and also some stories, because I'm sure a bunch of you guys either own the Mk1, your dads own the Mk1, or you probably knew someone who owned the Mk1. And if you guys did enjoy, drop a like, drop a sub, it would absolutely make my day. And till next time.